Earlier this week, actress Angelina Jolie revealed she preventatively had her ovaries and fallopian tubes removed after blood tests revealed she had a higher risk of developing cancer. Now, this comes after she had a preventative double mastectomy 2 years ago. While her decision may be a very aggressive form of preventative treatment, she is not alone, and many argue her decision to be public about it will empower other women. So what else can we do to make sure women faced with this very, very tough decision or who are going through cancer treatments continue to feel inspired? Joining us now is clinical social worker Cindy Crane, who's here with some tips. Cindy, as always, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
My first question, cancer, why is it still so taboo? Why are we afraid to talk about this?
I think we've been raised in a society that sees cancer with a capital C, and we think that it's a death sentence, and it isn't. More and more, very often it isn't. More and more often, people are living for decades with cancer, but it does shape the way we think about ourselves, being ill or not ill, and then says something especially about, as women, who we identify in a feminine way as well.
Talking about it's so important. How can we begin that?
I really appreciate the public acknowledgement of getting information sooner. When we can identify a disease sooner, we have more opportunity to do something about it. We've got to stop stigmatizing the idea of women's health and get to the doctor's office sooner.
So coming back to Angelina Jolie and her decision to share, a lot of women very empowered by it, saying, okay, if she can talk so bravely and openly about it, I certainly can do the same. But it's not always that easy, especially when you think about your family, your kids. How do you really begin that conversation? Is it sitting your family? Grassroots. Okay,
you have to
what
start.
is that?
You have to start talking with each other.
Okay.
Recognize what the signs and symptoms are, and make it part of our general forum, an opportunity for us to discuss this. Because when we can talk about it with our friends and family, then we have the opportunity to take control of our own health and do something about it, Maureen.
How do you talk to your children about this?
Well, I think it depends on the context, but I think in general we always want to say if you feel any symptoms or something that's not typical for you, don't make an assumption that it's something else. Go to the doctor, seek professional help, and get it checked out.
Can you ever be too open about sharing your cancer diagnosis or treatment? Because I know some people, you know, not everyone wants to be as open. So can it work the other way?
You know, it's an individual decision, I think, for each woman and how much she wants to share. There are women in my practice I see who wear a wig throughout their entire treatment. There are other women who choose not to. And it's just an individual decision. But I think the more open we can be about it, the less fear it causes in other people around us.
The particular treatment or cancer that Angelina Jolie was undergoing to remove or was preventing to remove her ovaries and fallopian tube, you know, and even having a double mastectomy. For women, you know, these are our feminine parts, and so many people identify so deeply, like this is what makes them a woman. A lot of people coming out saying, no, not at all. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, what I think is sort of interesting about the fact that Angelina Jolie did this is that she's known as such a glamorous, kind of powerful woman. That she is forcing menopause as another way to preventatively stop the cancer from growing is, I think, a marker of we don't have to identify just by, you know, the organs that we have in our body, that we are more than that, and that we can be beautiful no matter what our bodies look like.
Indeed. Cindy Crane, as always, wonderful tips. And of course, we can keep the conversation going with you. Just tweet her at Crane Therapy. That's C-R-A-N-E Therapy. Cindy, again, as always, thank you so much for your insight.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Always. All right.